I am very sure that you have heard this before from your manager. You didn't follow the process, and that's exactly why the deal didn't close. And, there's some truth to that. However, in my experiences, many times it's not exactly black or white. There's a lot of grays, especially in sales, and especially when you're dealing with humans who tend to be unpredictable. But how can you ensure that you don't have a lot of let me think about it, or the deal is going to go stall, or we're not ready yet, or for whatever reason, you're counting on a deal to go through and it doesn't happen? What can you do? Well, I'm going to answer this today with my opinion based on a question posed from another salesperson. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode today, we're going to be tackling a topic, my friends. This is one that I got from a salesperson who literally asked this question. I'm going to play the question, and you get a chance to hear it, and you can give your feedback. Now, it won't be exactly their voice, but you get the point. So I'm going to play this here in a minute. But before I dive into that, thank you so much for being here. If you're a first-time listener to our podcast, I appreciate that a lot. And I want you to go ahead and subscribe. And every time we drop a new piece of content like this, we're going to notify you. Our goal here is to help you, one, build pipeline, and two, help you to accelerate deals through the pipeline a little bit faster. So let me go ahead and dive in and kind of give you a lay of the land of the scenario here. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to pull it up here. And you can listen in, and then you can hear what this desperate seller is going through. And hopefully we can help them solve their problem here.
I just had to send this voice note after my last deal went south. My manager, again, said I didn't follow the framework, like every single time. But the call was messy, It was real, not some textbook scenario. Am I missing something here? Or is this just how sales actually works in the real world?
Clearly, homeboy is frustrated. And I'm going to break this down and tackle it for you here. And if you've had the same scenario, I want you to just go ahead and drop me a message on LinkedIn right now. Say, DK, that's me, man. That happened to me. So here's what I want to first thing I want to tell you. I don't know all of the situation here, and we're gonna give him a name as Ricky, right? So I don't know all of the situation here with Ricky in grave detail, but the concept of that my framework is the problem to all my deals, or is the problem to all the deals, you're not following it, that it's very prescriptive, is not correct. And I think what Ricky's trying to get at is, with that question, is sales that prescriptive? Is it that predictable that if you do X and Y, you get X, X and Y, you get Z results? And I don't feel that's the case. So let me help you out here. The first thing that I would tell you, though, I would do is I would listen to tape. So I want to establish that it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray. You heard me say that in the teaser. But the first thing that I would do is I would listen to tape. And if I was coaching you, Ricky, I would want to get some of the tape and kind of understand the scenario, because I feel like each of those are going to be different. You're going to have similar things, but with each prospect, but everyone's scenario is going to be a little bit different, right? So, but that's the first thing. I would want to listen to tape, and I would encourage you to go listen to tape and come in with I guess, non-subjective view of it. I would ask someone else to listen to it as well, whether it's a full call, if it was recorded, and just give you feedback on where were some of the friction point, or where did you go wrong with this? Better yet, you can even take this, and then here's another easy, simple coaching tip. You can take that full episode recording, or that, not episode, in your case, it's an audio recording. You can dump it into different tools and extract it, or just get the transcript version. You can get that from your audio recording tool. Get the transcript version, and then take that transcript and dump it into ChatGPT and say, help me analyze this. The prospect said the deal didn't, the deal didn't close, and I was expecting it to close. Give it some of the most scenarios, like you're talking to me, and then here's the recording of or transcript of the conversation, and you can get some help on that. But the reason I want to do this is sometimes we look at it subjective, like we did everything that we possibly could. And you're probably right on that, Ricky, but there's places that we don't see. And someone else with a different lens from, outside opinion can give that feedback. And if you want to send it to me, I'd be more than willing to listen to it, and we can check it out. Number two is that I want you to understand that you have control of the situation. And the way I would do this is that if you don't take control, essentially, the prospect is going to take control. And let me give you, more context. And I had one, Ricky, that I can tell you. I had this prospect. We met with her, and she was interested in our solution. And I got other people involved in the organization, some more people, some more team members that they have. I didn't build a strong enough relationship with all of them, but I was expecting a deal to close, and then all of a sudden it became really flaky. Like I need to talk to other team members or need to talk to a manager. And some of these people I knew about, but they needed, like, she wanted to bring all these other people in and to get their opinion now. And the deal kind of went in this awkward stand-in moment. I built good rapport with them from the jump, but I didn't want to jeopardize that rapport by prying or going deeper, like, what's going on? I felt and sensed something was wrong, but I didn't have the gumption to ask. And I feel that's where most of us fall, where we might say, yeah, I did the stuff. I did reach out to the prospect. I did get a couple of people involved, and I did send out the proposal, and I did do a proposal review. But there's things that made that proposal review, things that may happen in that proposal review that could have helped the deal to close that we may not have paid attention to. And that's where I want to help you to find with the chat, with your AI research, or with your non-subjective outsider looking at it. I want them to be able to see where you could have made a mistake, but also I want you to be able to take control of the situation. And what I mean by that is this: if I'm going to do a discovery call with the prospect, I could also prep the prospect before that call on what I expect and what they expect. Right. So I might say, tomorrow, Donald, here in our conversation, here's what I'd like to make sure that we cover tomorrow with some possible outcomes. What is it that you want to get from the call tomorrow? And I'll put it in the agenda so we can tackle it. Sometimes they may respond, they may not. But the point here is I can get what I need, and I can set the agenda for what I need from that call. Will it follow the same exact framework every single call? Probably not. Maybe something else will come up. They have to go change their kid diaper and the meeting ends sooner than later. Or the lawn guy is outside and they're working from home, landscape guy, and it's loud. Or perhaps there's even something beyond that. My manager just got fired and we don't know what the next step is. Like some of those things, no matter how much you follow the framework, it's going to be out of your control. But if you can get enough information, and you still have control, you can still have control of that situation and set something up for the next step. And that's where I want to get at. But if you have control in that discovery call beforehand, I'm going to set the agenda, what I want to cover and what you want to cover, so we can tackle that. The outcome is critical so that you can make sure that you all get to the same end point. The other piece that I want to point out, especially if it's like you need to get certain team members involved, you can let them know, like, on the proposal review, here are the 3 people that we typically have. Can we, do you want me to reach out to them, or do you want to reach out to them to get them to be on a call? That's another component. But again, usually, because we build relationship and we don't want to step on our clients' toes, and they tell us, yeah, let me just get through it first. That's where we find friction, man, and that's where we find like problems that come up. Again, it's not necessarily the framework issue. It's just a simple fact that I didn't do my job to get to I didn't set it up for the prospect, and I can't get mad at the prospect if it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to do. The third piece that I want to get at, that I found from your situation here, Ricky, my boy Ricky Bobby. Hope that's not, if that's your name, that's a cool name, Ricky. But the third thing I want to get at is I want to make sure that I want to get to the next step with that prospect. So I go back to this lady that I had the conversation with. After the convo, because again, we built a good relationship and I didn't want to jeopardize that. I didn't want to become imposing. And it was in the heat of the moment, so I didn't think as much. And I did a follow-up call with them, expecting that the deal was going to close, but it turned totally south. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to think about it, or I want to get these other people involved. I didn't set the next step. And I think that's where we make a mistake oftentimes. We want to make sure that we have a set next appointment, independent of what happens. Even if it's like, yeah, the landscape guy's outside. James, let's set up a time for tomorrow. Or can we do this call later in the day? Get the next step, and don't, for the love of everything that's holy, don't take the one where, let me just reach back out to you. If that happens, you have to have the courage to say the next thing that I'm going to tell you. And that's where you ask the tough questions. This is what I've shared on multiple episodes. If you feel it, you say it. So in my case, in my case, what I should have done in that scenario, I should have said something like this: Mary, this is where I'm getting a feeling that maybe this is not going to be a top priority anymore. Or Mary, can I be honest here? I have a concern. I have a concern that this is not going to go through. Like, management is not seeing the way that you see it. Am I off on that, Mary? And the point there is, like, I'm not putting her on the bad side. I'm saying they don't see it the way that you see it. And it's totally fine if that's the case. But I want to get to the truth of it, because the truth is going to set me free and set Mary free. But the truth of it is going to help me to know how to best handle the situation and how to get it back on some framework or some track. But if I don't have the courage to ask that type of question, when I feel wishy-washy, when I smell wishy-washy, when it clearly is wishy-washy, I'm going to get those same results over and over, where the deal is going to stall, and my management, not knowing what's happening, not knowing the real life context, is going to say it's because I didn't do the framework. I skipped over a step, or I didn't say, like, I didn't, wear blue that day. Like, some of those things don't necessarily matter. You could do the framework all in all, but there's a art and a science of sales. And you may do the science part, but the art is being able to read between the lines, to hear the things not being said, and to pick up on the context, the cues, have the sales IQ to pick up on things that are not quite visible to the naked eye. That's the way that I've seen it. That's the way that I understand how sales work effectively in my situations like that, and especially with that call with Mary. Now let's go to a good scenario. I've had calls and had deals with prospects where I did just that, where I followed my format, but it deviated from the path. But this idea of just understanding in my mind, where do I want the deal to go? So I prep them beforehand, so the deal doesn't get out of hand. So we all know what we're trying to get to is the same outcome. I was able to then get to a clear next step, no matter what, which I've missed on in the past, and then asking the awkward or the tough or uncomfortable questions. And by doing that, it helped me to ensure that I stay successful and become the artist, so to speak, rather than just the scientist. Your sales framework is a science. Do the calls, make the disco, then do the proposals, and then do follow up. That framework is going to be your science. It could be even like if you're following BANT. Well, you got the authority and you got the authority, but you didn't get the deeper needs. Well, it could be the case, but also could be the situation didn't really need call for that at that point. But if I do understand where we're trying to go, and there we're both on the same page, and I do understand to get a clear next step, and if I ask tough questions because something doesn't feel right, I find 9 times out of 10, that's going to help me to be able to close the deal as close loss, or help the deals to progress and maybe pivot it in a different way. Ricky, hopefully that helps you. If you have a question as well, you can go ahead and drop me a message. You can send me something on LinkedIn, a voice note, or you can go ahead and email me, donald@thesalesevangelist.com. Speaking about that, I have a free software that you guys can check out as well. I built this with my team. You can check it out on, go to prospectpro.io, prospectpro.io. So prospectpro.io. And what it is, essentially, it allows for you as a sales rep to be able to track your sales performance. How many calls does it take before you get to an appointment on average? And how many appointments does it take before you actually get a deal or opportunity? You can test it and play with it yourself. You can find more details by going into the show notes or go to prospectpro.io. Test it out. It's totally free. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking, go out and do big things. See you on the next one.